Welcome back, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
To the latest episode of Time Jimmy Talk. Don't mind the getup.
Yeah.
Today is Halloween. We're recording this on
Yes.
Halloween, so I'm about to go trick or treating, look at some Halloween haunts.
And I'm
going
going to take him trick or treating. I'm dressed as his father.
You kind of look like it a little bit.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, so I'm Zombie Mario, and this is Tyler, and today we are what?
So I didn't realize that we were doing a costume call today.
Sorry,
hang
man.
on.
That light's not on.
That might help.
No, just a little bit.
I just realized that the light wasn't on.
Now you can see all the makeup on my face now.
What makeup, dude?
Oh,
So yeah,
Anyway.
I didn't know that we were doing a costume call today, despite it being Halloween. So I
Yeah.
put on my Halloween, the top half of my Halloween costume. I went
Yep.
as Tombo from Kiki's Delivery Service.
and we got a little ghost face just in there for
Ghost face
reasons.
killer.
Yeah, which we'll describe a bit
Obvious
later
reasons.
on for obvious reasons.
Well, I hope it's obvious.
Do you reckon?
So yeah, today we're going to be talking about the FNAF movie. We've
Yeah.
actually decided to release this one earlier than intended.
Yeah.
So in the next 2 episodes, just excuse us. I think we say the episode number. We're like, whoa, 28.
Yeah. Yeah,
just,
we do.
Just ignore that.
Yeah.
We'll correct that anyway.
Yeah.
But
Just record your voice over it being 29 or something.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we decided to get this one out earlier because,
Yeah.
we're recording it with enough time. It's recent. We only saw the film, 4 days ago or something.
Literally, we watched it last Friday. Today's
That
Tuesday.
feels nuts that it was only so much has happened.
Yeah, I know, right?
I've had
You've had time to think about it. I've had time to think
so
about it
many
as well.
thoughts about it. I have I have
I've got
a
some notes
decent
here.
amount of thoughts.
We're ready. Where do we even start with this godsend of a movie?
So very quickly,
Yeah.
you have no experience with FNAF, as we know, because you had played it
Yes,
on the
I
channel
played it on
for
the
the
channel,
first time
yeah.
during October.
Yeah.
So that's your experience with FNAF.
Yep.
I've been playing FNAF since the first game came out in 2014.
Yeah,
I've
okay.
watched more MatPat videos about FNAF than I think I've watched about any other topic about anything in my life.
Remotely concerning.
Yeah, and I've played all of the games to varying degrees of success over the past nearly decade now.
Like all of them.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Except for Security Breach, but I've
Yeah.
watched so many people play it.
You felt like
so
you
many
played it.
people, and
Yeah.
I'm really not ever going to play it. I fell off with FNAF World.
Yeah.
That's a whole... Anyway.
What do you mean? Is it not just FNAF 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
No.
Oh, God.
It's 1, 2, 3,
Oh, no.
4, Sister Location, FNAF AR, and
the
then
hell?
FNAF World, Ultimate Custom Night. And then
This
you've got
is
Security
insane. I don't
Breach,
love
you've got
that.
the Ruin DLC for that. Help Wanted, which is an augmented reality game.
Yeah.
Or virtual reality rather. Than you've got Help Wanted 2 coming out later. Anyway, there's
You're
a few
rambling.
games as
Yeah.
well as 30 novels now.
They made books?
Yeah, there's books and graphic novel adaptations of them.
Oh,
There's
no, I remember seeing a graphic
There's a
novel,
trilogy
yeah.
of books that have been adapted into graphic novels, and there's
Yeah.
short story collections. I think there's fucking 30 of them now or something. There's so many. No, there's 20
This is
something.
a big series. This is a big franchise.
Yeah.
And then they made a movie of it. And
They certainly... And it was the movie of all time.
yeah, it was actually so good.
It was the movie.
I remember laughing. I remember crying.
There
I was
some
angry
tears.
at some moments.
I was
yeah.
very angry in a lot of moments, but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a sec. First thoughts about the movie.
I think that over the last few days, I've come around on it a little bit more than I did when I was
Really?
in the... and for reasons I'll explain.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what you think.
But also, it doesn't change my star rating of the film, which is a solid 2.
On Letterboxd.
Yeah, a 2
Yeah.
out of 5.
Yeah, I gave it a 2.
Doesn't change my star rating.
Yeah.
But I've come around on it a little bit more, appreciating it more for what it is, which also allowed me to critique it more harshly for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
But yeah,
I remember walking out of it and I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know if I liked it or if I didn't like it.
if the
It
movie
was-
had have wrapped up after the first 2/3, I think I would have been good.
Yeah.
You know?
It sets up the plot pretty nicely, I
Yeah.
guess. It wasn't what I was expecting from a FNAF movie. though.
I hear that.
Yeah.
That really famous horror franchise? Yeah. Where was that?
It wasn't. That's probably one of my main critiques, that it just
Big
was
time.
not scary.
And I saw
all.
a lot of critic reviews going into the movie, and I rarely pay mind to critic reviews.
Yeah.
I care more about audience reviews. But at the time that we went and saw it on release day, essentially, there were only critic reviews.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were saying the same thing, which was like, it's too goofy to be a horror movie, but then there's some moments in it that are a bit frightening. So like, why didn't they lean more into that? Like, who is this movie for?
You couldn't really tell. Like, there were moments it definitely felt like for teenagers or something, or fans of the franchise, but others, but it felt a bit more horror. But even then, it just didn't feel scary. No. None of the more intense moments of the film were ever that scary.
Not in the slightest.
Yeah.
There was a sequence, like the opening sequence, spoilers, by the way, for the whole film.
Yeah.
It only came out like a week ago, so spoilers. That's as far as we're going without spoilers.
Yeah.
The sequence at the beginning of the film, where you see, the security guard being hunted down by Foxy, I was like, damn, that actually goes really hard.
And he gets like trapped in the animatronic and the saws like going through. I really wanted to see it. But I knew they were going to cut it off.
Absolutely.
He was getting hurt.
It's not a Saw movie, dude. Of course they were going to cut away.
I know. I just wish it was just like an MA-15 plus R-rated movie. It just would have been so cool to see some of these kills in the movie.
PG-13.
Yeah, I know.
And
I know. But like
on the kills, I mean, we're going to be jumping around a fair bit, I think. On the kills, one of my biggest gripes with the movie was, the sequence when the 4 people break into the Pizzaplex, or to the Pizzaplex, wow.
Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, dude.
I'm talking about it like it's security breach.
Yeah.
The scene where the 4 people break in and that, like, they all get killed in very violent ways. They all get killed in ways that are relevant to the game. Chica kills someone in the kitchen, which is where she hangs out most in the first game, as you well know. Bonnie kills someone in the supply closet, which is like the camera closest to you in the first game. Foxy runs down the hallway and kills someone, which is great. That was a nice jump scare. Like, that was one of the only ones that got me.
Was that a jump scare?
Yeah, when the guy's trying to get out and you see Foxy down the hallway, the lights are flickering, and then he's suddenly like upon him. Yeah. Okay. And then Freddy bites someone in half.
Oh, yeah, he did.
That was goofy.
Was that the bite of 87?
It was the bite of 23, dude.
It was.
But, like, that was goofy as hell. Like, just bit her in half. I was like, okay.
Yeah, like, all right. Well, because it looked like it snapped her in half, right? But it looked like he got the top half of the body.
Yeah.
But then you see the top half of the body later on.
Yeah.
Which confused me a little bit.
But then, like, you see all of their bodies later on. You see their mangled corpses.
Yeah.
Mangle. That's a FNAF 2 reference.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get it.
No, I only remember Mangled because Nate Wants to Battle did a song.
Yes,
FNAF
indeed.
song called Mangled.
Yes, indeed.
Anyway.
Oh, what a throwback.
Yeah, I know, right?
But you see all their mangled bodies and, like, they never get mentioned again.
No
one's looking for them. No one says anything about it. I think
that's one of my notes. The deaths are so inconsequential in this movie, especially when the auntie dies.
Yeah,
they're just like, okay.
So yeah, So at one point in the movie, when Golden Freddy comes to the house, also Golden Freddy's never mentioned again. Like the Freddy who was in Freddy? It was because he was missing an ear. He had a slight one eye, slight gold tinge to him.
Yeah,
it was definitely meant to be Golden Freddy. Because then he disappears outside. Abby walks through, and then everyone else is in there.
Yeah,
but like he's never mentioned again. True. How did he know where they live? How did he just rock up to their house?
The only assumption I had is that Steve was William Afton, and since he gave Mike the job, he might have known where he lived from that.
Well, my thought was that maybe the spirit of Golden Freddy would have been Garrett, his brother who died. True. I thought that was... When I saw in the trailers that Abby was like friends with Golden Freddy, I was like, shit, I wonder if that's Mike's missing brother. Because Matt did a whole theory video about about it, even though I now know that was all a farce and that he knew the whole movie before it came out. But also that cameo was my favorite.
Yeah, that was my favorite part in the movie.
Unironically, my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah. He came up and you're like, dude, it's MatPat.
I actively screamed.
The whole cinema just started
murmuring. Yeah, you could hear it.
Oh my god, it's MatPat.
It's just a theory, dude. I loved that so much. He released a vlog that you should watch about his experience on set, and it's really cool. It's really wholesome. It made me that made me appreciate the movie a bit more. Yeah, MatPat's into it.
Yeah,
but the aunt, she gets knocked off by Golden Freddy, and then the movie literally never mentions her ever again.
Abby looks back at the auntie and she's like, oh no, and then just keeps going or something like that. And it's never brought up again.
Never once.
Never once.
And it's really funny that it's never brought up because Mike is in a vicious custody battle with this woman.
Yeah.
And then presumably her body had to be removed from his place of residence. And I'm like, but then they never say it again. But also, we know that the cops in this town are just fucking trash because Vanessa's one of them, and she should be in federal prison.
She was. I don't know how to feel about Vanessa in this movie.
I had high hopes for her because her character in the game is interesting.
Oh, is she a character?
In Security Breach, yeah. She's a security guard who, God, there's so much. She gets controlled by the spirit of Glitch Trap, which is an AR, like an AR version of like William Afton's soul that's uploaded to computer systems and becomes a virus. And like, it's a whole fucking thing, dude. This franchise has jumped the shark a long time ago, but
really
I love
has.
it. Yeah. But she has no relation to Afton in the games for like in a family sense.
But in this,
but Mike in the games is Afton's son. So like, it was really interesting that they made her his daughter, I guess, to subvert. And there was a scene early on in the movie when he's talking to Steve Raglan, and he pauses and he goes, Mike. And I went, oh, that's fun, because that's got to be a reference to, like, you know, is it Michael Afton? Is it Mike Schmidt? Like, that's got to be a fun little Easter egg. But no, it turns out it was unfortunately plot relevant.
Damn it.
But yeah, it's interesting. So I've got a lot to say.
Yeah, that's all right.
I've got a lot to say about this.
I think you probably have more to say than I do just from being a FNAF fan. I have thoughts.
What was your favorite thing about the movie?
MatPat. Okay, apart from
Other than MatPat, because that's too easy.
Oh, man. My favorite part. To be honest, Matthew Lillard being Steve/William Afton. When he was... For the brief moment he was in the movie, I thought he was really good. He just pulled off this, like, batshit insane dude at the end who stabs Vanessa, and it's just what a time.
I
enjoyed
completely
it.
Agree.
Yeah, and
so I'm just reading through my notes while you talk.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I just wish I saw him more, or I wish there was like a bit more of a build up to his reveal. It just sort of felt like it came out of nowhere, and then he wasn't there for long, so he wasn't really like a terrifying villain for me.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things about that as well, but completely agree. Matthew Lillard was my other favorite part of the movie. Yeah. He was the big reason I wanted to go and see it in the first place.
Actually, no, the thing I appreciated the most, which is funny, we have the ghost face mask in. Yeah. So when he has the knife, can I have that knife? I want to do it.
I wanted to do it. That's why I had it on my side of the table. Fine, you do it.
No, you do it first and then I'll do it.
So in Scream, when he's Ghostface and he like brushes his hand, the people on the audio, but he like brushes his hand like over the dull part of the blade to like prep it, and then as Afton in this movie, and he does it again. I really liked it. I saw that in the trailer and I was like, damn, dude, that's really cool. Yeah, because you know it was never a secret that he was going to be Afton. Like I knew that was him doing that. Yeah. So I really appreciated that reference, obviously, to his prior role. Yeah. One thing on Afton not having much screen time. Yeah. When he takes off the mask and it's, you know, a big reveal that it's actually him. I talking with some of my students about this today, they told me that apparently at this point Mike was knocked out or whatever, but then he does get back up afterwards. Yeah. But Mike doesn't say a fucking word. He doesn't go, Mr. Raglan? But you're Steve Raglan. Yeah. My guy Steve? Yeah. You gave me this job. And like, I feel like that would have helped plug some holes in terms of why the fuck did he give Mike this job? Yeah, how many guys in the United States are called Mike Schmidt? They live in another state from where apparently William Afton just flew to Nebraska, kidnapped Garrett, then flew back to wherever the fuck they are. It didn't make sense. It was so weird.
Yeah, I was talking about it with my partner, like in the car on the way home. Like, why is he hiring these security guards to look after the pizzeria? And we were like, oh... At the start of the movie, they're like, oh, the owner likes to look after it and keep it in good shape. Or what? I don't know what they say exactly. I think that's what Vanessa says. So I was like, I guess. It's But then they get killed if they get too close. So I don't know.
It's baffling to me. Like in the games, at the very least, you know, you're just the night security guard. The locations are open. Yeah. You're just being a nighttime security guard.
Oh, like the pizzeria is still open.
Yeah, it's still functioning.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, most of them. Like the first FNAF, I mean, or maybe that location's shut actually, but I know on the second one, you're just the nighttime security guard.
Oh, okay.
But like, you're just there to help protect the proprietary technology. Yeah. Because these animatronics, you know, like so far ahead of their time. Yeah. Like, which is a good angle.
Yeah.
But this game, like, it's an abandoned pizzeria.
Yeah.
Why doesn't Afton just move the animatronics somewhere else if he doesn't want people to go near them? But he does, because he's hiring people to go near them. And Vanessa's still.
It doesn't make sense. It makes very little sense.
Yeah, I really wanted some sense
Just
in this
some
movie.
like explanation.
And like again, like I was saying, like Josh Hutcherson or Mike having a reaction to it being Afton, you know, being Raglan, that might have given him an opportunity to be like, "Why do you think I hired you? Like I wanted to finish the job. Why do you think you've lost all those other jobs? Like I was manipulating you." Like
it would have been cool to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, like where's his villain monologue?
Yeah.
He takes off his mask. He says like 3 lines. He stabs Vanessa.
What does he even say?
Nothing. He
Nothing
doesn't
really.
And then he says, "I always come back," which is a line from the games.
Yeah.
Which is really funny that they did that.
Yeah.
But he says that after he's already been like spring locked and dead in that suit for like 30 years.
Yeah.
He's like, "I always come back." But he hasn't come back yet.
No, this is the first time he did.
He hasn't come back yet, as far as we know.
I think
maybe
it's said
it was
in
a Ghostface reference.
Don't think so.
It definitely wasn't.
So he doesn't say it.
No, I mean like to the fact that he dies in Scream.
And then he always comes back.
I don't know.
Goes,
I don't know, but I
don't know.
I'm just using that to try and make sense of it.
I think it actually comes up again near the end of the credits. I think he says, "I always come back again."
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't?
He spells out the letters.
He spells it out.
C-O-M. No, he spells out "come find me."
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he spells out "come find me." Which again is a line that he says in the game to Mike, his son, who's going around to each pizzeria trying to find him and put an end to the Afton curse.
Right.
Anyway, the games have really good story.
Yeah. It seems like it. So why didn't this have one?
Why didn't it have horror?
But it was like marketed as a horror movie, and it looked like it was going to be horror from the trailer, but it's just like no real good jump scares. You don't actually see any of the kills.
No.
You see what happens after the kills.
Yeah.
And it's just it's just not scary.
It's
nothing about it.
Fascinating to me that we've now got another movie adaptation of a very popular franchise that has seemingly the people behind it having no indication or idea of what made that franchise popular in the first place.
Yeah.
Like for me, I tapped out so fucking hard when they were building the fort. Like
I think everyone did.
When they started building the fort and it was like fun, happy music and like Bonnie was like giving a thumbs up and like
he falls over.
That to me, I was sitting there just like, what the I'm like, am I tripping right now?
Yeah.
Did that karaage chicken have something in it, dude? Like this can't be real.
Yeah, well I think I wrote that in my notes. That was the moment for me that made them not seem scary.
No, and they weren't.
In the slightest.
They weren't after that.
Which, like, I get it because it's like trying to make Abby feel like safe with them so they can lure her in at the end of the movie. Which I get, but it wasn't the right way to go about it.
I just didn't. Yeah, why did they? And like, I get the angle of that. You know, these are the spirits of children possessing these animatronics, but like, they don't behave like children in the games.
No.
And I'm not saying it has to be 1-to-1. Obviously, there's room for adaptation. But like, it was a choice. It was definitely a choice. And they made it, and they did it, and I watched it, and then I went home.
In the games, does William Afton kind of control the animatronics like they were alluding to in the film, or not really?
Well, funnily enough, this movie is more so an adaptation of like the Silver Eyes trilogy of books, which is like the first trilogy that Scott wrote. Wherein almost beat for beat, it happens the same way in terms of like Afton is controlling the animatronics, or he's got a control over them. And the main character of that book, Charlie, draws a picture to show the animatronics. Like exactly like how Abby does at the end of this movie. That's like beat for beat ripped from the Silver Eyes, which is interesting, and I appreciated that nod. And I liked that a lot in general, actually. That they make a big point throughout the movie to talk about the drawings and the importance of children drawing and whatever. And then because they've characterized the animatronics as children, that is how Abby eventually gets them onto her side. And like I quite liked that, to be honest.
I did like that angle, and like every time Mike went to sleep, he went back to being in the forest and all the children were there and he's talking to them and stuff. I appreciate that angle. I think it's just the end of the movie doesn't pay everything off that well.
And that leads me in kind of what you're saying about the dream stuff with the kids.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I think the first 2/3 of the movie for me, or the first half, pre-fought. I think that's why I liked it so much. Because I was like, look, the story was a bit weird and convoluted, and like the kid who is Freddy's spirit was like, you know, you can stay here, you can change it. And I'm like, but he can't.
Yeah.
He can't. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, is he going to kill Mike? Is that what's... But no, they wanted Abby. But like...
It was weird.
I don't know. It was weird. It's interesting that they did that. Also, side note, Dream Theory. That was fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
So after the 4th FNAF game came out, Scott was talking about he'd made one retcon in this franchise up to that point.
Yeah.
And a lot of people believe, and I believe it's kind of been confirmed now, that it was what the community calls Dream Theory, wherein that the first 4 games were just the nightmares of a child.
Yeah.
They were not actual events that happened.
Yeah.
That's since been retconned into the story in other ways. But fucking hysterical that there was a Dream Theory book prominently at the center of this movie. I think that's so funny.
The Mike's just always referencing it and stuff.
But I really liked, him putting himself into a trance to go back and try and see. I really wanted that to pay off more in the sense that I wanted him to see Afton's face in that dream and go,
oh,
Raglan?
shit.
I wanted that to be the moment where he realizes. And then when Vanessa tells him, that's my dad, she shows him a picture of Afton, outside of the suit.
Yeah.
And that for Mike, just oh my God, it's all connected.
Well, exactly. That just would have been a good build up to the face reveal at the end, because you sort of know it's coming, but it's not confirmed.
But
it would have been so good.
But then they spent so long going on about this Dream Theory stuff and about Mike going into the state to try and find the killer's face because he knows it's in his memory.
Yeah.
He knows it's there. And then they literally don't reveal it.
Yeah.
I'm not even clear that it was Afton who did it.
No.
It's in a different state.
Yeah.
Why was he in Nebraska? And also...
Dude, who knows?
Also... When Vanessa shows him the photo of Afton and her, and she's got the toy plane, the same one that Mike's brother Garrett had, why did he then look up at her and go, how long have you known? What? That could have been any fucking plane. He could have gone, my brother had that plane, and she could have gone, yeah, my dad gave it to me one day. I don't know, they needed just to have a discussion. There should have been lines there.
There was just all of the dialogue between him and Vanessa, and every time she towed the line between telling him what's happening and stuff, it just felt really off, and she felt off, but not in a good way.
No.
It was in a really weird, just you haven't written her right.
And I like the trope of she rocks up and knows what's going on. She rocks up and knows things that she's clearly hiding. Yeah. I like that as a character trait. And then over the movie, it slowly gets revealed her connection to the pizzeria.
Yeah.
But they didn't really do that. They just made her mysterious. And then in one scene, she's like, it's my dad. I used to come here as a kid. I'm just checking up on it. He still hangs around. The machines are going to kill your sister. Anyway, peace and out. Yeah. I'm just damn.
The weirder part is when William Afton's talking to her, once he stabs her, it's you were meant to try and keep him away or something, or you got to get rid of him or something when they get too close. So I was like, oh, okay, so why wasn't she kind of mysterious but in an evil kind of way throughout the film?
Also, the other trope route that they could have gone down was she's there trying to fuck him up or keep him away, but then she sees his good intentions and changes her mind, and then maybe he finds out that she was trying to kill him and he confronts her and she's like, no, I changed my mind. I wasn't going to. And again, that would have made her interesting as well.
Starts off kind of evil, but then goes against her dad eventually at the end.
Exactly.
I would have much preferred that. It would have made so much more sense.
We should have written this movie, dude.
Yeah.
We can I will say, with that final scene, one of the only times that I was scared in the movie was when you see Afton walking and he's sort of hunched to the side and you see his eyes and then the suit slowly emerges and he's walking out sort of real. That was creepy.
That was a little. That was
I liked
a little
that.
Creepy.
I was damn, that's a nice shot.
Yeah, or when Matthew Lillard puts the helmet back on, and the eyes start lighting up. You're oh man, he means business.
Also, it was a little humorous because of the fucking cupcake biting his suit. Yeah. But I really liked the springlock sequence where he gets fucked at the end. Yeah. And that's shot at the end of the film of him like sitting in the cupboard like twitching,
Yeah.
and then the door getting shut. That's exactly what happens in like the cutscenes in the game.
Oh, sick.
Like he gets spring locked because he's surrounded by, not by the animatronics, like that's in the Silver Eyes, but in the games he's surrounded by the spirits of the children that he killed, and they're like haunting him and chasing him into a room. And the spring locks in the game, if they get wet or any kind of moisture on them, that's what makes them collapse.
Right.
And so he gets chased into a out of repair back room which has leaks in the ceiling, and the ghost kids are around him, and he like stands in a puddle of water to get away, and the spring locks all go off, and he is like twitching in the back room, and they seal him in.
I thought that was like kind of a dark ending, just him just like being stuck in the room and twitching and in pain, and it's like starts zooming out, and you're like, oh, damn. Awesome.
That's very game accurate.
Okay, that's
which
good.
I like that as an ending for his character, because again, it leaves him open to come back, which he always does apparently.
He definitely will. I think I've wrote in my notes somewhere, if I would I have enjoyed this movie more if I was a FNAF fan? And initially I think I wrote like I don't think I would have, but now after you explaining everything, I don't know anymore. Do you think that you would have enjoyed this had you not watched FNAF or played FNAF before?
It's really difficult to say, because it's like I don't even know if I enjoyed it having watched FNAF or engaged with FNAF. Sorry, like it's, I don't know. I really don't know, because like my favorite part of the film, my favorite parts of the film were the Easter eggs and the references, the balloon boy jump scares. That's really funny. Like, you know, like the way that they set up the animatronics and like some of the kills that they get, the security off it. Like, I really liked how much like the games it felt in some regards. But then the majority of the film felt nothing like them. And even trying to remove myself from that and go, okay, this is its own thing. This is its own canon. It's not the games. It's not the books. This is something new. I still think the story is so weak that it can't stand on its own without the source material being there to prop it up with Easter eggs anyway.
No, I would agree. I think the main sort of plot line didn't do that much for me. It just sort of almost got bored. Like near the end, before the final sequence, I was just like, okay.
Yeah. But it also kind of felt like they'd plotted it out up to that point, then they went, fuck, we gotta wrap this up. And then that's why, you know, Afton's only out of the suit for like 2 minutes before he's killed. Like, they reveal him, he says a couple of lines, he stabs Vanessa, then the animatronics fuck him up and he gets dragged away. And I'm like, damn, that was so quick.
It's so quick, hey?
Like, I don't know, it's... Afton in the games is like a... You don't even learn his name for like 3 or 4 games or something. Like, and you learn more about him in like... All of the flashback sequences in those games are like 8-bit like cutscene mini games that you play as, like the introduction of this movie that showed the missing children incident in 8-bit. That's very much how you see it in the games as well. It's all 8-bit mini games that you play in. Which was a really nice little nod, and I really liked that as a way of explaining the missing children incident during the opening credits. I thought that was really cool.
It was cool.
But yeah, like, Afton is this kind of like mysterious guy, but like you can feel his presence through everything. Whereas in this movie, he literally just isn't in it. He's in like the opening couple of scenes as Steve Raglan, and he's not in it literally ever again. Until he comes out in the suit at the end and is revealed as William Afton.
I just didn't expect it to happen. Like, I did see those bunnies like in the photos and the drawings, but I was like, what is that?
And
obviously, had I played FNAF, I would have recognized that was William Afton.
But
then he shows up, and you're like, oh, he's here.
Again, I feel like there was some scenes missing or some lines
felt
missing.
Like that.
It felt like there should have been scenes where, like, you know, he calls on, like, you know, Mike's second or third. Like, William Afton in that first sequence was very much like phone guy from the first game, calling and being like, hello, like, welcome to your first night. Like, and he was setting it all up. I wanted him to do that for every night that Mike was there.
I thought
just
that was
to keep him in the story.
I thought that was gonna happen.
Didn't happen.
I expected when Mike got to Freddy Fazbear's for it to be like the first game. He would like he'd go to the cameras and then he would start noticing that Bonnie's moving around or Chica's moving around, and and they start getting closer to him and he has to like figure out what's happening. It didn't happen like that at all. It was like, I think the only thing was Foxy sort of got close.
Foxy was the only one initially, and then by the time he realized that they were all moving, Abby was friends with them and they were building the fort.
exactly. Yeah, like I don't know, man. I was expecting it to be like the first game, but it just wasn't. But I guess it's trying to be its own thing, so whatever, man. Okay.
So we're just looking through the notes to see what else we want to say. One other thing that I wanted to say was about the Springlock suit. So like the one in the back that Vanessa was like, don't touch it. It'll go off. I wanted, like, if they were going to use that at the end to show, like, you know, how William Afton gets defeated, which I knew they were going to do. Yeah. Because it's just what I expected to happen. I wanted to see more talk of the Springlock suits. Yeah. They do it in one scene, and then there's obviously a scene later on where Abby is almost put in it. But then, like, they literally say the word Springlock one time, and then the ending relies on you still knowing that information and being like, that's from earlier.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, the Springlock, like, if you touch it or something, it will clamp in or whatever. But that was it. Yeah.
But then also, that's not super accurate either, because, like, you have to get into the suit. Yeah. That's designed, like, that's why in the games it's like, you know, if it gets too wet or too, there's too much moisture in the suit. Because there's a sequence where you're playing and you're, like, wearing a Springlock mask, and one of the animatronics is like, don't breathe too heavy, wouldn't want the Springlocks to get, like, too moist. And I'm like, fuck. Like, damn. I don't know, just, like, having them go off whenever they're touched defeats the purpose of them, I think.
It's a bit, like, how do you even get into the animatronic in the first
place if
it's going
without
off?
It fucking you?
Yeah.
Interestingly, that suit in the back, I thought it looked very much like Baby, which is an animatronic from Sister Location, who's possessed by Mike's younger sister, Elizabeth Afton. And then obviously, you know, Abby is an anagram for Baby. So as soon as they announced her as, like, Mike's younger sister named Abby, I was like, that's Baby if you rearrange the letters. Yeah. Swap the first two. And then when you see the suit in the back with the big red cheeks, and I was like, that's like a Baby Springlock suit. But there is also a Springlock suit, or a suit in the books called Ella, who's like a doll. And it's, and so, like, it's probably a reference to her. Could be a bit of a Baby reference, I don't know. But, like, I don't know, I wish that they had more references to the Springlock suits before relying on them so heavily for the finale of the film.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just weird the way that they did them. Yeah. And I got it because as soon as I saw the suit, I went, oh, it's a Springlock. And I knew immediately what it was. But, like, you wouldn't have.
I didn't. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's happening. I didn't get why it was happening, but it was happening.
Yeah. It's, I
don't know.
I think I've gone through everything that the only other thing that I wrote down, I'm just going to read it how I wrote it because it's funny. I liked Mike's motivation about his brother, but I didn't get why Freddy was like, you can change the past, you can have this. Like, what did he mean? And why did they want Abby at all? Like, sure, like, Afton may have been controlling them, but why Abby if he killed Mike's brother and he wanted to kill Mike? But then why did the animatronics want Abby if they were just happy being friends with her in the real world anyway? Like, I just don't get it.
You're pulling out all of the plot holes and I don't know how to explain it to you.
Yeah, but this is what I mean, though. There are so many points. Like, if the story was if the story was shit still, but I couldn't poke holes in it. If it was just a bad story, I think I would appreciate this film more. Yeah. The problem I have with it, and the majority of this podcast has just been us going, why did this happen?
Yeah, it's just trying to explain things that happen for no reason. I just had assumed that they had a history of trying to get children in, and Abby was just another girl that they wanted.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know. Again, like in the games, and like William Afton creates all the animatronics. I'm not getting into Henry. I'm not getting into more specifics than that. He makes an animatronic named Baby, which is like. And all of the animatronics that he makes at that time all have specific, like, scoops in their stomach to grab kids and pull them in to kidnap children so that William can kill them. Yeah. And he is very clear to Elizabeth. He's like, hey, don't go near Baby. But then Baby, like, offers her ice cream. And then when she gets too close, she scoops her up and kills her. Yeah. So then Elizabeth's spirit possesses that animatronic. And, like, that's the whole thing. There's no one ever trying to be like, come here, kid. We wanna make you like us. It's a weird motivation considering William's the one who's killing them. Yeah. Even if it's secondhand through the animatronics, but still, like, it's him.
Yeah. No, I didn't get it. I tried not to think about the plot too much of this movie because the more I think about it, it makes less and less sense.
Big time.
Do you have any other thoughts about the movie at all?
No, I was just gonna say I think I've said my piece.
Yeah,
it's like I appreciate that. Like, and to end on a positive, I fucking loved the animatronics, as in the fact that they were real.
Yeah.
The fact that they were real animatronics.
Yeah.
They looked amazing.
They looked really good.
And, like, the sets looked really solid.
Yeah.
Like, the sets were really good. I really enjoyed the way that the film looked aesthetically.
Yeah, like the pizzeria looked game accurate. The animatronics definitely do. I wish they looked just, like, the slightest bit more rugged.
Yeah,
they look
especially if they're in an abandoned pizzeria, you know?
Because I think that just would have made them a little bit more scarier. They look just a little too clean.
Big time.
Especially Bonnie. Whenever I think of Bonnie, I'm like, you're weirdly clean. Anyway.
Weirdly clean, dude.
So that was my only problem. But like when I learned that they were like it was not special effects or anything, like, dude, that's tight.
They were all real Jim Henson Creature Shop animatronics.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Also,
I did appreciate that.
Horrifying that they exist in the real world now.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
They're just hanging out.
Don't like that one bit. I'm going to be laying in bed one night and hear... like, yeah.
Oh, God.
It was, as I said at the start, you know, this was the movie of all time.
The best movie of all time, even though you poked holes at it.
You didn't hear what I said.
Oh.
It was the movie of all time.
Okay.
It was the movie of all time, you know?
What do you mean?
It was the movie of all time.
That implies that you think it's the best movie of all time.
That's the joke, because I'm not saying best. I'm saying it is the movie of all time.
Oh, okay.
And I said that to some of my kids there, and they went, okay.
But
and they were like,
me.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened. The way I described it, one of my kids today was like, what did you think of the movie, sir? And I'm like, I watched it.
I saw it.
And it happened in front of me.
Yeah.
And then I went home and I had watched it.
And that's probably the best way to describe it.
And they were like,
a movie that I saw.
I understand. Yeah, it's a movie that I saw.
I sat down, I watched in front of a screen, I ate popcorn, I left, and I got home.
And I had seen it by that point.
Yeah.
And now we are talking about it.
Yeah. And we've just talked about it for 40 minutes. So
yeah, it's
there you go.
Fascinating.
I'm interested to see if they do a sequel.
Well, Matthew Lillard has signed on for 3 movies.
Really?
He revealed.
Okay.
So, yeah, as Steve Raglan. But yeah, so I'm interested to see where they go. The second game is a prequel, but they've already confirmed that, you know, if they're mapping out the 3 movies from the first 3 games, which they have said they are, they're not going to make the second one a prequel.
Do you think they'll lean a lot more into like the FNAF lore and the story beats behind that, or they'll try and do their own thing?
I really hope that they hear the criticism of this movie, they hear the complaints about it not being a horror movie, and that the second one, with assumedly the decaying corpse of William Afton as the main antagonist, I really hope that they lean more into the horror aspects of the franchise.
They really
forward.
need to. I hope they like make it like an MA 15 plus movie or something. Really lean into the horror, lean into those kills.
Yeah.
Because some of those kills would have been really awesome had I seen more of it.
Exactly.
Imagine seeing the saw going through that security guard's face. That would have been just like a really good cold open to that movie. Which already was like a cool open to watch.
But then it cut away.
Yeah, then it cut away. I was like, son of a bitch.
Damn.
Also, where the fuck was Markiplier?
Oh, he did a stream, and he did a stream about it.
Okay.
Like a week before the movie came out.
Yeah.
He was filming Iron Lung when FNAF was filming. He was invited in Matt Pat's vlog that he put up from his one day of filming at Sparky's at the diner. Sparky's, great reference, by the way. I'm not getting into that.
Yeah, I was about to be like, what's that from?
FNAF, not like a creepypasta, but like a fake FNAF thing from the first. Anyway.
Okay.
Great reference. Sparky was in the fucking movie. It was a dog animation. Anyway.
From Frankenweenie?
No. So Markiplier in Matt Pat's video, because he was there. The scene that he filmed in the diner was the first day of filming for the entire film.
For the whole thing?
Yeah. You should watch his vlog. It's really good.
Yeah, I would like to.
And there's the cast photos up on the wall, and Markiplier is there as the security guard from the beginning of the movie who gets killed.
Oh, so that's who he was going to be.
That's who he was going to be. Matt Pat also read for the taxi driver.
Yeah.
But then they made him the waiter. And they made his name Ness. Like the Nintendo character.
Yeah, like the Nintendo character.
Yeah, because Scott really liked his video about Ness is Sans from Undertale, and so they named him Ness on purpose, as a reference to that video.
I didn't notice that.
I didn't notice either until I saw the MatPat vlog where he held up the name tag and he explained it. And I was awesome. Like, that's fucking hysterical.
I love that. Hey, I love the connection between Scott and Matt just for that alone. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah,
cool. That was FNAF. That was our FNAF talk. Hope you all enjoyed it.
I don't know. Would you recommend this movie?
I personally wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you're a FNAF fan, I feel like maybe you would appreciate it on that level.
I feel like all the people I've spoken to who liked it in some way are FNAF fans.
Yeah.
And even all the positive things I have to say about it are related to my knowledge of FNAF already.
Exactly.
So it's,
And I had none of that, so it's just like... It just felt like a very mediocre... It was a movie, dude. It was
mediocre melodies? That's a deep cut reference. Anyway.
Stop dropping these references, dude.
Well, someone listening will get it.
I'm sure they will. Damn. I'm sure this guy knows his FNAF.
I've been watching MatPat since 2014.
Dude, you're a good fan.
I love his theory videos so much.
They are good.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it?
Nope.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks so much, everyone.
And I will catch you on the next one, which will probably be One Piece or Doctor Who.
It'll be One Piece. One Piece. Spoilers. Yeah, we're getting the FNAF one out real quick.
Yeah.
After the movie, and then we're going to talk about One Piece that came out like 4 months ago.
Yeah. It came out 4 months. Oh yeah, it did.
And then we're going to talk about Doctor Who, which came out in 2005. So go figure.
Enjoy these. Enjoy them. Have a good time.
Yeah. Happy late Halloween.
Late
everyone.
Halloween, I guess. Yeah. Hope you got to spook some people
consensually.
Yeah. And I hope you got to trick or treat, get some candy. Yeah.
Great, dude.
All right. Yeah. See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye. The one time that the Markiplier ending is valid.
I like how none of us went horror. Anyway.
I'm going to fade out on that.
Bye. Bye.